what you sell matters less than how you sell. When products and services that are being sold today are similar or almost identical, literally identical to the naked eye, to the consumer, they're looking at this white blouse and this white blouse, or this coaching program and this coaching program. It is so hard for them to identify, why is this one 10,000 and this one 2,000? They can't see it because so much is similar. So what separates that and what separates the how is it's how you connect, how you communicate, how you build value, and how you show up that sets you apart. It's the how in all those things that you do that make someone say, she might be a little higher, but I like her. I like how she's talking to me, how he's treating me. So it's not just about what you offer, it's about how you make clients feel understood.
Hello, possibility seekers. Welcome back. It's Monique de Maio here to talk to you once again with a fabulous guest. I am going to introduce you to her and I will tell you all about our wonderful Liz Wendling. She's the founder of the Sales Clinic and Purpose Powered Selling, and the author of The Heart of Authentic Selling and Sell Without Selling Your Soul. Does that sound good to everybody here? Liz is driven by the mantra, it is not what you sell, it's how you sell that matters. Liz understands the challenges professionals face when selling in today's competitive and crowded environment. She shows professionals how to make a profound difference in their sales approach, their language, and their process. Her proven strategies have helped professionals break free from the outdated, ineffective tactics and replace them with modern, client centric techniques that drive results. With Liz, professionals learn how to sell with integrity, with influence, and with impact. And here we are. Welcome, Liz.
Let's do it, Monique.
Let's do this thing. So let's start by hearing your story. What inspired you to start the Sales Clinic and Purpose Powered Selling?
Oh, Monique, I used to watch so many talented professionals lose sales and opportunities because they were stuck using outdated, what I call transactional sales methods. They thought they were being client centric, but it was very transactional. And the worst part is they had this very skewed mindset that selling was bad and it was evil and only those people sell things. And so they went into their sales conversations with all this junk in the trunk, and then they couldn't figure out why nobody was buying from them. And when you have a bad mindset and not a sharp skill set, it's really hard to help connect the dots for potential clients on why your product or service is better. So I created the Sales Clinic and Purpose Powered Selling to truly show professionals that sales can not only be transformed, but it could also be effective. And it could be so effective because it's built for you. It feels good to you, and it's based on your authentic, natural style, not being pushy, salesy, or uncomfortable. A lot of people think they have to show up and be pushy or salesy. Nobody wants that anymore. They want you to be yourself. But first, you need to know yourself and what you're doing so that you can do that in such a way where people want to buy from you. So I called it the Sales Clinic because people get to check in and check in with the problem, check out with it being fixed.
So it's not like the Hotel California, you can check in and you can check out.
They get to leave here. And so instead of trying this and trying that and fixing that and seeing if this is the problem, I do what I call a sales MRI and a CAT scan. And I go through their whole business processes, their whole sales process to help me understand and uncover where is the problem. Just like going for an MRI of your body. Where are the issues? Pinpoint it. And then let's get the right treatment, the right plan, and the right prescription so that you could move on knowing that you're selling from your heart, not selling your soul.
Right. It's funny. It's funny. My husband used to have that. He used to have this, oh, I'm not a salesperson. You are. And I go, I have never sold a day in my life. Now, meanwhile, I've been a publisher. I've been, entrepreneur for 26 years. I don't sell. I said, I educate. If you want to buy from me, that's great. But if you don't, I'm okay with that too.
Can I push back on that? I call BS on that. And here's why: because no one wants to be educated anymore. I understand what you're saying about that. I do, because I hear this a lot. But the education piece, a lot of times we're doing that even before we pick up the phone and talk to someone. What people need is a little education about maybe what they're buying, but they also need someone to help them make a decision. They need them in there. So that's where the selling part comes in.
Yeah, I don't, so for me, again, this is a mindset thing, and then maybe you can push back on this. I don't mind. It's not to me selling, it's advising. And so this is what I would do if I were you, because this, and this. You could choose not to. That's okay too. So I'm not really selling you. I'm just advising you on the best practice based on your situation.
And I would wrap that as a sales conversation. Yeah, there's a you can call it anything you want, but if you're exchanging money, there's a process. There's a sales situation about to happen. If somebody is buying something, there that's a sales process. So it's very much more nuanced than what you and I are touching on right now. But there is a sales component. If you think of it, you're marketing, so you market to do what? To sell something, not to just educate people. Marketing educates, and then the sales process helps people go, "Oh, I want to work with you," or "Oh, that's the problem I have. You solve it. How do I work with you to solve that problem?"
Right. So we're going to talk about, I want you to unpack a little bit the heart of your message, which is the mantra that you use, which is it's not what you sell, it's how you sell that matters. I want you to explain how that sets the foundation for not only your work, but how people should engage.
So why what you sell matters less than how you sell. I truly believe my mantra is it's not what you sell, it's how you sell. And the reason why is because when products and services are being sold today are similar or almost identical, literally identical to the naked eye, to the consumer, they're looking at this white blouse and this white blouse, or this coaching program and this coaching program. It is so hard for them to identify, why is this one 10,000 and this one 2,000. They can't see it because so much is similar. So what separates that and what separates the how is it's how you connect, how you communicate, how you build value, and how you show up that sets you apart. It's the how in all those things that you do that make someone say, she might be a little higher, but I like her. I like how she's talking to me, how he's treating me. So it's not just about what you offer, it's about how you make clients feel understood and the experience you create that actually leaves a lasting impression, and an impression that your competitors can't replicate. They can't say, "Oh, you're just like Sally down the street," because you showed up completely different than everyone else. So the how is so much more important than the package that you sell.
What inspired you to focus on this intersection of sales and authentic communications? Was there a defining moment or a trend that you noticed in the world that had you do that?
For sure. I noticed a really disturbing trend, and that trend is even more prevalent today because people come to me and hire me when they say, "I'm just tired of sounding like this," or "My manager told me I need to use this script," or I need to be more performative," or "I have to twist myself into a pretzel to sound like this." And they're told how to be instead of really get in touch with who they are and then sell from that place. So a lot of times people think they have to put on a different hat and don't and act like someone else when they're in a sales conversation. So I wanted to be able to help people develop that part of their process where it's filled with respect and intelligence and humility and humanity and a conversation where two parties are engaging, but they're going somewhere. It's not just, "Oh, I'm going to chit chat with someone." No, there's a real direction and an intention. So blending those together, the authenticity and a strategy, created a successful formula that, in my opinion, works in almost every industry. And I work in legal, interior design, financial services. I just worked with a basement refinishing company. They're going into people's homes to talk to them about an $80,000 brand new basement. You better be able to communicate, connect authentically with the homeowner to be able to close that sale, all the way to the medical field.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that because I was interviewing a woman recently and I asked her what the worst career advice she ever got was. And she told me point blank that the worst career advice she ever got was for that her managers said that you need to be just like XYZ person, Bobby, salesperson. Because he was the top performing salesperson. So you should model everything that Bobby does and do exactly what Bobby does. Except if you're not Bobby, Bobby's techniques and strategies are not going to work for you. So you trying to effectively, channel Bobby is not going to work. So if you effectively channel yourself, if you're clear about who you are and what value you bring, then maybe we got something. But this idea of being like somebody else,
That advice says squash your authenticity. Just forget that you're a unique human being. I need you to be like Bobby. Don't do anything that makes you feel good. Be like Bobby. I see this, hear this all the time when I'm working, especially in the legal field. If someone's doing an initial consultation, let's say a person's coming in for a divorce, they'll say, "Oh, go sit in on Sally. Sally's really good at this. Go just go do what she does." But people don't understand what's behind Sally's questions. Why is she doing it that way? They don't understand the process behind the conversation. So I teach both sides of that. How is your message being received? What are you saying that maybe you can change just a little bit that actually makes it land so much better on the other person?
well, that's a great segue to our next question. You speak about the importance of eliminating weak words, as I've heard you say on videos, and overused phrases. Can you share some examples of why that is and how it dilutes credibility in the sales or leadership processes?
Monique, I live for this question because I talk every day to people regarding eliminating those weak words and those overused phrases that when I rattle some of them off, I hope you cringe. I hope those listeners out there say, "Oh my gosh, I say that all the time. Why is that bad?" There truly are certain overused words and phrases, and those phrases that we use every day, and we think they're just leaving our lips and that they're so unique. But what they do is they weaken your impact, they dilute your credibility, and they decrease your trust. And I call them, I have my phrases for them. I call them word bombs, phrase grenades, landmines, and lazy lingo. And a lot of the when I call a phrase grenade or a landmine, a language landmine, it's because they blow up your communication, but not in a good way. So when you think about it, your words matter because your words have the ability to open people up or completely shut down. They have a opportunity to create an environment that allows people to tell you the truth, that creates a space where people tell you what's really going on versus I better hold back because I don't know what this person is doing to me. And it could cause certain words cause people to run, lie, and hide from you. They're in no particular order. They're just in my head because I say this so many times. They're in my head, almost like in a form. But I'm going to rattle them off, and I want you, as I say them, think about how often you use them, why you use them. Are they adding any at all value to the conversation, or are they filler words that you just inject in there because the whole planet is using them, or are they really are they are they there because they need to be there? So things like this. I know you're busy, so I won't waste your time. I know you get a lot of emails, Monique, so I'll be brief. I know you have a lot going on, so I won't keep bothering you. I know you're swamped. I'll be quick, all the way to excuse my persistence. Sorry to interrupt you. I hate to keep bugging you. And those feel like you're apologizing. Like, I know you're the busy one, not me. I know you're better than I am, not me. That's how it lands. And then this batch, especially when you don't know someone, the ones I'm about to rattle off, when you don't know someone or don't know them very well at all, when you start your email, and I see these all the time, every day, and even Chat GPT will add these to it. I hope all is well. I hope this email finds you well. I trust all is well with you. I hope you had a good weekend. Anything that that filler sentence that sets you up to fail and fall flat because everyone on the planet is using that. Everyone. If ChatGPT is telling the whole planet to keep using this crap, it's going to be people are going to keep using it. And first of all, think of it this way, Monique. Do I really believe I barely know you? You send me an email and you start it with, I trust this email finds you well. Right? I don't believe for 1 second you sat there and thought, I really hope this lady Liz I'm reaching out to is well. No, it's a generic opener that it gets typed out with no thought whatsoever to the recipient.
Unless we know the recipient, in which case it's lovely.
It's lovely, but I would rather put that at the end. So I teach my clients to put that at the end. So when you're starting an email, you want to get right to the point, right? Today we have 3 seconds. Why would you waste time saying, I hope all is well. I hope you had a great weekend. Now, I'm not saying don't be nice. Absolutely not. If you know someone just got back from Mexico and had a great vacation, hey, I know you got back from Mexico. Hope you had a great time. That's a little different. Or I teach people to put that at the end. P.S. I hope your trip to Mexico was great. Probably had a good time. Looked like the weather was fabulous. There's it feels different when you don't start out trying to quote unquote be nice, look nice, or sound like everyone else. I'd rather your email get someone's attention right out of the gate, and then you end with something like that says, "Oh, she remembered I was going to Mexico." And then another batch is one of my favorites is the F word, just following up or touching base, reaching out and checking in. Now this stuff worked 20 years ago, but now the whole planet is just checking up, following up, checking in, touching base. Everybody uses that. So it doesn't have the same impact anymore. If I open up my inbox in the morning and I have 20 emails from people who are just following up, touching base, reaching out, and checking in. No one's standing out. There's not one person or one message that makes me say, I'm going to respond to this person. And who the heck wants to be checked in on or followed up with or reached out to? How about you get to the meat of the message and the reason why you're connecting with someone? Because if you only have 3 seconds, you have to leave that crap out.
Right. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you one quick question and move on to the rest of the questions that we have. So, let's just say you are working with somebody and you have a client and they're just disregarding, deadline over deadline over deadline. And you have to keep following up with them because if you don't get what you need back from them, you can't create the thing that you were paid to do. So in that case, I'm just curious, how would you handle the needed follow-up, which you don't want to call follow-up unless there's a distinction between a known person and an unknown person?
So a known person for sure. If you're working with someone or there's a communication, you need something from someone with the idea is to get a message to them that has some energetic feel to it that propels them to want to reply to you. If it's, hey, I'm just following up. We talked about you getting me that spreadsheet. Let me know when you can do it. And it's like there's no energy in that. That's not, oh my gosh, let me get back to Monique. She's right. I'm 3 weeks behind schedule. So what I like to do even before I get to a follow-up message and I teach my clients is to talk about follow-up, is to say, you and I will likely exchange a lot of emails over the course of our time working together and we have some deadlines and sometimes things aren't as important as other things. How do you want me to communicate with you? If I need something in an urgent fashion and we're not connecting, do you want me to stop by your office, send you a bouquet of flowers? Do you want chocolate? Do you want coffee? Do you want me to harass you? Tell me how the best way for me, you and I, to accomplish what we need to accomplish. So it's as if you're talking to another human being. You're both on the same level and you don't have to beg anybody. You just say, from time to time, I may really have to bug you. And I'm only doing that because it's part of how I operate and how you and I accomplish the tasks. The follow up before the follow up.
Awesome. Make a note of that, people. So one of your key points is striking a balance in communication and avoiding passivity while also staying authentic. How can leaders and professionals achieve this balance, in your opinion, today?
That balance, achieving that balance is so key because it keeps you steady. Think of somebody on a tightrope walking. You have to maintain that balance, and you have to know when to balance it with a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And passivity in general can undermine your message and your authority on so many levels. When you say something and it comes out in this like soft manner, it it just doesn't feel like it landed anywhere. It's like a feather versus a baseball. Throwing a baseball, it's heavy and it means something.
Oh, see, Liz, nobody's ever told me I was passive.
Same here. Same here.
This is why our friend Jackie got us together because honestly, I don't think she ever saw any passive anywhere.
Zippo, yes. But it sends a signal that maybe your perspective isn't as important or worth making a stand for, which can lead to so many, and here's a part of the sales, missed opportunities. So, balancing authenticity and assertiveness is what really builds this beautiful trust bond, and it ensures that your voice is heard. And to achieve the balance, you want to speak with clarity and conviction and avoid language that sounds overly apologetic or tentative, such as saying I'm sorry or I know you're really busy and all that stuff that just diminishes who you are versus getting to the point. I owe you this spreadsheet. Here it is. It's attached. Let me know if you have any questions.
Right. So that's actually a great segue again because you're working with professionals and executives. And what are the most common communication habits that undermine their authority? And how do you think they should and can correct that?
Oh, Monique, this is a big one, and I see it a lot. They undermine themselves and they don't know it. It's not that they're waking up every day and say, I want to use unnecessary words. I want to over explain myself. But what happens is they wind up apologizing unnecessarily, of course, over explaining, using a lot of extra words. Those are the ones, the big culprits that I see the most. And correcting these can be done, but it does require mindfulness. It's you observing yourself. Maybe pause before you speak. Keep your language tight and concise and focus on the value you bring versus then trying to defend your position. For example, there's lots of things I hear that are just unnecessary and again they weaken your message. I just wanted to quickly ask you a question. Or this may be a silly question, but I could be wrong, but
If you could be wrong, don't ask the question.
right. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. I'm probably this is my favorite. I'm probably overthinking this, but or I'm sure this isn't relevant, but I hate to bring this up. You probably already know this, but do you see how each time you do that, you lose an inch of your height? Think of it that way. So instead, using language that makes you an inch taller.
Right. Well, I do wanna put a pin in that and just say that my listeners have heard me say the use of the word "but" is really, really dangerous because whenever you add the word "but," you've negated what you said prior to the word "but." So really, you wanna say "and." I coach people to say, "Please don't say da 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 da. You look fabulous, but" then whatever you're gonna say after the word "but" has just completely overridden whatever you said prior. So the word "and" is a better use than "but." So anyway, getting to your written word and your books, The Heart of Authentic Selling and Sell Without Selling Your Soul. Give us some sense of the takeaways from those books that every professional listening to us today should know.
In both of my books, the one is strictly geared toward women. That's Sell Without Selling Your Soul. And the other one is more for just sales professionals who are selling a service, an invisible service. So the biggest takeaways are to really believe and know that selling is not about convincing anyone to do anything they don't want to do. It's not forcing people to buy from you. It's not putting people in a headlock until they say yes. Selling is it's not. Selling is when you can lead with that authority and confidence and focus on solving problems and communicate with clarity. when you do that and you're in those sales conversations and you're doing all of that stuff where it is a give and take, beautiful, balanced conversation, selling then becomes a natural extension of what you do and who you are, not something that you've got to endure for 20 minutes while you're on a conversation with someone. And I also talk a lot about serving and selling, and there are books out there that and podcasts and anything you can imagine about don't sell, just serve. Just serve. Just show up and be a servant. And I call BS on that because you have to be able to step in and sell as well. And I selling and serving is like the infinity symbol. You can't tell when it starts, when it stops. You have to be in serving mode, but you also have to know when to push and when to have a conversation with someone to solve their problem, to talk to them about fixing their problem, dilemma, or situation that they're in. There has to be that time when you, the professional, jumps in with that confidence and purpose, and then the sale begins to happen. And it's no one can tell where selling starts or serving.
Yeah, that's right. It's a seamless continuum of dialogue or conversation or communication. So if you were giving one piece of I mean, it's all solid advice, but a one takeaway for a professional that's trying to elevate their game, elevate their communication and leadership around the sales process, what would that look like?
That piece of advice would be to be like we talked about, be consistent in your words and your actions. Be consistent in what you say and the actions that you take, and no excuses. People respect professionals and leaders who their communication aligns with their behavior. Isn't that crazy that that has to be something I have to remind people to do? If you say you're going to do something, do it. Because that consistency, whether it's in your personal life or professional, that consistency fosters credibility and strengthens your impact all along the way. And there's nothing more professional, nothing sexier than someone who's congruent and aligned with what they say and what they do.
Oh, Liz, I think you should read my book.
I'm halfway through it.
The
Yes.
integrity of your word. I think we both trained on that. Doing what you say and saying what you do, and then not only saying things, but doing what it is that you say.
Correct.
Right? So if there is alignment there, your life is so much better and less friction based. I love that. Actually, that is a thing I look for from people. If they say stuff and I see them operating at a completely different plane, I'm like, okay, first of all, you're full of shit. I can't trust your word. So therefore, I am not going to trust what it is that you're saying or selling.
That's right. Yeah. And that's right. And people pick up on that. They might not consciously say, "Oh, you're not congruent." They just get a feeling in their body that I don't trust this person. There's something I'm just not trusting. And that's enough for them. And they move on.
Yeah, it's so funny. I met like I won't there will remain nameless, but I met 3 different women that put themselves out there as life coaches, right? And I can tell you without, being disparaging or disrespectful that these women could not find their way out of a paper bag with a roadmap. And I'm thinking to myself, you are going to give somebody else life advice? How about you eat your own dog food? Call me in 6 months. Cuz I ain't taking life advice from you cuz you're like
Awesome point. Yes.
anyway. So that lines up to what you're saying big time, big time. So my last question, and I love asking my guests this, it's my traditional, question, and that is if you had an opportunity to go back and talk to your 30-year-old Liz self, what would you tell her?
Oh, first, I'd give her a big hug for making it to 30 with the crap she was doing. But I would absolutely tell her to trust your inner knowing and tune into that inner guidance that was there the minute you were born. It was hard in your hard drive the minute you were born. Stop second guessing yourself or looking outside for validation from something else or someone else. The answers have always been within you. Self doubt always clouded my past, and now self doubt only clouds what is already clear. And listening to that inner voice will absolutely save you time, energy, and unnecessary bad detours. I took quite a few of those. So I would say GPS all the way. Tune in.
Love it. So I want you to know that 95% of the time I ask this question, the answer I get is a shade of what you said, which is more or less it's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. It's going to all work out. Relax. Or some version of like, trust yourself. It's okay. You're doing the right thing. Stay on the path. It'll happen. And I think we're just so hard on ourselves. And that little voice inside our heads that speak to us in such a not nice manner.
Oh gosh, all the time. Yep, and we've got to catch it, and it's hearing it and saying, "Oh, that's not me. That's not my," or that is me, and I better listen to this. Is it my ego or is it truly my GPS on? Because I was remember somebody told me once that if it's your ego, it talks in big long sentences. When it's your true GPS and inner knowing, it's words like go for it. No, not now. Stop, pause. That's how my GPS talks to me. When it starts going off on a tangent, I know that's my ego.
That is brilliant, people. I want that to be that's a masterclass. Thank you so much, Liz Wendling. This has been so much fun. I hope you listeners and viewers have gotten some tips on selling, being authentic, being in alignment, understanding the bad trigger words that we all use in our communications that don't serve us. So thank you for tuning in today. Please drop us a comment or two. I will drop Liz's contact information for you. Please let us know what you thought of the episode. Share it with those you love and then share it with those that might need it. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to Possibilities with Monique de Maio, where we unpack life as a female mover and shaker. If you like the show, please consider liking it or better still, subscribing to it and leaving us a rating. It truly does help. Also, you can pick up my book, The 7 Secrets to Creating a Life You Love, a practical guide for women in leadership. You can find the book, other episodes of this podcast, and how to stay in touch at moniquedemaio.com. DEMAIO. I look forward to seeing you again soon. With gratitude, Monique.